everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my guy, Donald Thomas. And today we are going to go over the Week 4 slate of games, some surprises, some expectations that happen, things of that nature through the NFL slate of games this past week. And Donald, just to start off, what was the biggest surprising game that you saw Sunday?
Biggest surprising game? Well, I will say this. I almost called every single game correct except for 2. So we're going to get that out the way right now. But the biggest surprising game is, in my opinion, was that Buffalo-Miami game. I knew Buffalo was going to take care of business. I called it. I said it. A lot of people didn't believe me. They said, Miami's the hottest team in the NFL coming into that into that game. 70 points. They look like the regular Dolphins, Dolphins of old, right? When they went up to Buffalo, New York. So that was my biggest surprise game for me.
Oh, my biggest surprise was actually the Titans and the Bengals. It's not necessarily because of who ended up winning. It was the Bengals only put 3 points up, right? And we've been waiting, like NFL fans and all that have been waiting for the Bengals offense to really wake up, and they really haven't yet. And that Mike Vrabel defense just put a hurting on that offense, and that really made me go, what? You picked the Titans to win, but I'm sure you didn't pick them to win by 4 scores, right?
Yeah. Well, the Titans woke up that running game too.
Yeah,
like they finally woke their running game up. They looked a lot better in that aspect. So you get that running game going too. It's ugly because you already know Henry is a monster when he can get going. So
absolutely, 100%. All right, before we get into the rest of the games, I just want to remind everybody, BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, NFL, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games, available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember, use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. So let's actually get in a little bit about that Buffalo-Miami game, because let's face it, we both picked Buffalo to win that game.
We did.
And it was a blowout. I mean, it was a track race through the first quarter and a half of the game, right? It looked like, it was going to be, and I was saying, this could be a 50-50 game. Literally 50 points for each team. It's possible. I just see Buffalo winning. And it looked like it was going to start like that. And then Buffalo's defense started making key plays, and Miami broke down. Their execution on offense was not able to continue, and they made mistakes, key mistakes, like that interception that Tua threw that absolutely he should not have thrown.
Yeah. Like I said before, Buffalo saw chinks in the armor. They saw that, if pressured, Tua can make mistakes. You can fool Tua with some pass coverages. He'll force it. These guys are riding high. They think that they're invincible at this point. And Tua thinks that he can do some things that are probably above his skill level, and so you see it. They've been front runners all year. And definitely a front runner last week with 70 points. It was never even close. And it was kind of a setup game for them. They look good. They look great. They put up 70. They're riding high. And you going in to play, I'm calling them the Super Bowl contenders coming out of the AFC this year. You going into a hostile environment. I said it in our prediction show last week. This is not the game where you can mess around. These guys are for real. I told you Buffalo was for real. They should be 4-0. They shouldn't have lost to the Jets. That was their fault. But this was the game where they gave Miami some humble pie. And if you look at it from the standpoint, they out-physicaled them the whole game. They wanted it more. They wanted to prove to them that they were not that good, and they did all the above. And then the Buffalo fans were I already know, man, that place is rough to play in. So all those things was a culmination of I saw the writing on the wall, loss for Miami.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to move on because, well, not real quick. I will say people forgot about Josh Allen, I think. And he is a
How?
I know. I don't know how you forget about
I
him.
don't
I
get
mean,
that.
last week he played a hell of a game, and then
Yeah.
this week he played an even better game.
Dude
right?
is legit, and he can run the football too. Like, you're forgetting, like, he's big, he's physical, he has an arm, he can run the football, he commands the offense. I just don't understand how people write him off. He's in my top 10. If not, he's creepy. He's in my top 6 quarterbacks in the league right now.
I see Josh as a top 3 quarterback in this league.
You know, yeah, arguably, right?
Yeah, and I understand that he showed some questionable things week 1, but it's week 1, right? Against Miami, dude had more touchdowns, total touchdowns, than he had incompletions in that game. He had over 300 yards passing, 4 passing touchdowns, no turnovers, and then had that run that for a touchdown as well.
Yep.
Dude could do it all. And you put those weapons with him, when they start clicking, it is very difficult to stop that Bills offense.
It is, man.
Let's go ahead. Let's move on to another game. I want to talk about Baltimore just rolling Cleveland. We both got this game wrong. And there's a reason why we got this game wrong. Deshaun Watson was a last-minute scratch in the game, right, because of his injury. And it was end up DTR, Dorian Thomas Robinson, that played that was the quarterback in this game. And he had I known that DTR was going to be playing instead of Deshaun Watson, I probably would have picked the Ravens. And that's the reason why. The reason why is because he's a rookie, and because the Ravens, Jim Harbaugh, and this defense, they can cause problems for rookie quarterbacks, which they did. I mean, he threw 3 interceptions, right, in this game. But I'm going to hold on to my pick because I did pick the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to take the L, right, and roll with it. It is what it is. But that was the biggest. That was a big loss on both of our parts, I think.
Yeah, I'm a man too, so I'll take my loss. But did we know that he wasn't going to play? No. So we can't expect that kid to get thrown in the fire like that, hours before a game, or however long it was before he really knew that he was about to be the guy in there, and play well in at quarterback. Like, that's just not realistic. I know that as soon as Baltimore heard that, they started salivating. And then, Lamar was Lamar yesterday. He really, I think, he didn't have 200 yards passing, but he really made some good decisions with the football, no interceptions. And obviously, he's going to rush for, he didn't have a ton of rushing yards, right? He didn't have a ton of rushing yards yesterday, but they spread out the rushing yards. They did just enough to where, evenly everybody, it was really a game where defense won the game for him. Even though they put up 28 points, defense won the game for him with the turnovers, and that was huge. Because if you look at the stat sheet for Baltimore, no one's lighting it up over there from this game yesterday. Like, there's no 100-yard receiver, there's no 100-yard rusher. Lamar had 186 yards passing, but the defense won the football game for him, winning the turnover battle, scoring off of turnovers. And so that's why this score looks the way it does. So here's my thing, though. Because of that, I'm still not sold on Baltimore being truly a very good football team, because of the simple fact that if their offense was so high octane and so high powered, this should have been 40-something to 3. And I've been saying for this whole year, like, I'm not sold on Baltimore this year.
Well, I mean, they did score 28 on the Browns, but those 3 picks, I mean, there was a lot of points off turnover, right?
I mean, if you want to say that's 21 points, right? Theoretically speaking, or at least, like, let's give it 3 scores.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of those interceptions got ran back. One by Brandon Stevens, got returned for 52 yards. I mean, good Lord. talk about great. And then the Geno Stone got returned for 36. So that's it's hard to come back from something like that, and that just adds points to Lamar and this team. But I thought the Browns defense played as well as they could in the position that they were put in. Just we're waiting on Deshaun Watson to get back. A guy that Baltimore's waiting, Marlon Humphrey. He should be back soon for the Baltimore defense. That's just going to make that defense even more tough because Marlon's a really good corner as well when he's healthy, you know. So that'll be a welcome addition back to the Ravens when he's able to get back.
And what's wrong with OBJ? Exactly. I'm done with that situation.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I hear you on that one. Is there another game that you want to talk about? There's obviously a few games out there.
Yeah. I want to talk about the Texans Steelers game.
Okay.
I think that game right there, you know, out of all, you know, the 4 or 3 quarterbacks that were picked very high this year, you know, I think this is a bright spot for the Texans. I think that C.J. Stroud is hitting. He, you know, personally, out of all of them that came out, I thought he was the best quarterback in the draft. And it's obviously showing right now. He threw for 306 yards yesterday, no interceptions. And it's fourth NFL official game. Like, he looks good. C.J. Stroud looks good. And I told you, I said Pittsburgh's going to go down there, and Houston is starting to they're starting to get that offense clicking. Their defense they're not a bad defensive team either, and they got after Kenny Pickett. They took him out of there, applying pressure to him. Houston looked good yesterday, and I was really impressed. I didn't think it was going to be such a lopsided win, 30-6.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't call that, right? But that was a very impressive game to see from the Texans yesterday.
Oh yeah, C.J. Stroud's definitely hitting a stride right now, and he's really out there looking to get that Rookie of the Year award. Right? If he continues playing the way he is a good possibility he could do that.
Puka might have something to say about that.
Yeah, I think Puka's got some serious consideration in there as well. A game I want to kind of puff my chest out a little bit.
Uh-oh.
All right, just a little.
Okay.
We both picked the Chiefs to win.
Yeah.
But I straight said this is going to be a closer game than everyone says.
You did say that. I will give you that. I said it wasn't. You said it was. You were right.
Yeah. They ended up being 23-20. I was like, this Jets defense is real, and Zach Wilson's better than people give him credit for. Right. And it ended up, Zach didn't have a bad game. 28-39, 245, 2 tugs, no interceptions.
No picks.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one. Here's the deal. Patrick Mahomes is human.
Mm-hmm.
He had those interceptions. Everybody's like, oh, my God, he threw a pick. Oh, my God, he threw another one. I'm like, yo, he's going to have those days where he throws them. Like, the dude is a human being. Like, Tom Brady's had multiple pick games before. It's not the end of the world. How you respond is how good of a player you are.
Yep.
And he responded when it was crunch time. The Chiefs took care of business. I would love to have seen the Jets upset the mighty Chiefs because I'm really – can I just say something, sidebar? I'm tired of the Taylor Swift stuff. Like, we got to stop it. I'm watching a football game to watch football. I don't care about looking at Taylor Swift every 2-3. I don't care. Before this, I couldn't tell you who Taylor Swift was if she walked into Kroger or walked into the gym and I'm working out. I would be like, I don't know who that is. Now I know who Taylor Swift is and what it's just too much. Anyway, I don't like the media circus around that situation. So for that reason, I kind of wanted to see the Jets beat Kansas City. But, the Jets defense really took care of business, man. They got after Patrick Mahomes. Not enough when it was needed. We ran for what? That one scramble he had was like 30-something yards. And then, again, at the end of the game to down the ball within like the 3-yard line to win the game. He's just a heads-up player. But Zach Wilson did, he did respond well, after all the talk and, everybody writing him off. That New York's a tough market to play in. Mm-hmm. And you saw him mouth, or when he was talking to one of his teammates, this one's on me, bro. I lost the game for us. And I'm like, nah, don't say that. Don't say that. Yeah, there were some throws you missed, but it's a team
But
sport.
as a leader, you kind of
got to take it.
Yeah, you take
it on your shoulder.
He did the right thing in that aspect. Even though his teammates will be like, "Nah, dude, this is
right."
But you want to see your head coach and your quarterback whenever you lose take the heat. And when they win, you want to see them spread it around and be like, "Oh, this was a team win." Right?
Yes. And you know what? Zach Wilson, man, hats off to him, man. He got thrusted into a very, very, very tough situation. Like, let's just be real. Like 4 plays into the season, you're the starting guy again when in the back of your mind that these fans don't want to see me on the field right now. They really want to see Aaron Rodgers. That's why everyone's here. Everyone thought that we were winning Super Bowl because of Aaron Rodgers. Now I got to come in and try to keep this thing afloat. Like, that's tough. And you're hearing the stuff, and you're in the New York market, and New York, Jersey, that whole area is a rough place to play. People are going to tell you how it is. They probably say stuff to him in public. He probably don't want to be in public that much. It's a tough thing for him in his life right now, playing in this environment and putting the team on your back. So people have to take that into account. It ain't just about, it is on the field, but think about what's going on inside of that helmet of that man that's trying to, win a football game, and there's so many decisions got to make. I put the human element into it, and I feel for guys like that. Yes, if you're good enough, you're going to rise to the occasion. And you saw that he is a talented quarterback. He made some good decisions with the football. He didn't make bad decisions because he didn't throw any interceptions. Yeah, his throws could have been better. Yeah, he could have probably, ran or got rid of the ball a little bit faster, but take the good with the bad, man. They fought back, and they fought back with probably one, the other Super Bowl contender coming out of the AFC. So, Zach Wilson, hats off to him. They didn't get the W, but at the end of the day, take the positives out of that situation.
Yes, absolutely. I think the last game I want to discuss is, now we both picked the Eagles to win.
Yeah.
But I don't think we expected this to go to overtime.
No, sir. Right? Yeah. And that's the other one, right? That's the other front runner game. I was like, in the prediction show, I'm like, next, we don't even need to talk about it. Eagles, hands down. This is, maybe Washington, somebody heard it, so like listen to our podcast, saw it, and they were like, hey, man, they write y'all off. But no, seriously, in all seriousness, Washington came to play. And, Philly, I thought at times they were just there. They did enough to get the W. But they weren't as physical. I felt like in the run game, they weren't as physical as they usually are. Run the ball downhill. I mean, when you look at the box score and you look at the the Eagles, like rushing wise, like no one was like over 100 yards. Like Swift had 56 yards rushing. Like it wasn't the dominant 100-something yards that he had the previous week. Just overall, they just weren't the same team.
No. You're right. They weren't. And the Commanders looked like they were out there playing very physical, hard-nosed football. Hats off to Sam Howell, okay?
Yes.
Hats off to him. He went out there. He played himself an efficient game, right? He did his scrambling as well, 6 carries, 40 yards. That's 6.5 yards a carry as a scrambling quarterback. Didn't throw any interceptions, had that touchdown, almost 300 yards passing on 41. That is a lot to put on a quarterback when you're looking over at that Philly front seven, because that front seven for Philly is no joke, right?
No. And you can pick and choose who's going to get pressure across the board. Either it's inside or outside.
He got pressure. He got sacked 5 times and hit multiple times.
Yeah, and he still stayed in there, and he still, when it counted, he made throws and he made catch. Those guys made some catches. Towards the end, especially. That touchdown pass that he threw was very, very impressive. So you have to, Philly's got to understand, and this is why some teams are good for a long period of time and they become great, and why some teams are just always going to be a good team, but they don't really, they don't win a championship, because they don't understand that teams are going to come give you their best shot every single week, whether it's a 2-1 football team, a 0-4 football team, or a 5-0 football. You're going to get their best shot, and you guys got to be dialed in. So where it's not even close, or we're going to show you why we are who we're supposed to be every single week. then you're kind of seeing that. But still, it's early in the season. So when you look at it from a standpoint of Kansas City still playing with the Jets, Philly still playing with Washington, like those games are going to happen early in the season because teams are still trying to figure out who they're supposed to be and who they really are. And so guys got to be more leaders, in the locker room. Not to say Jalen Hurts is not a leader, but they're going to have games like this where you're going to have to ask more guys to step up. And so, like, when I look at the stat sheet, yes, they won the game, but no one's over 100. Again, no one's over 100 yards receiving. For Philly, AJ Brown did his thing. I mean, he had a monster game, 4 catches, 9 receptions for 175 yards. But besides that, everyone else was kind of just like, that stat was ridiculous, right? I mean, him by himself. But when you look at the run game, it was obsolete. So, they'll figure out who they are. They're a very good football team. They'll figure out how to get wins this year. They're not going to be undefeated by any stretch of imagination, but they will have these games where they got to come with it from teams that should not be, in it with them. So,
speaking of the Eagles, and you was talking about undefeated, there's only 2 undefeated teams right now in the league. The Eagles and the Niners, both in the NFC.
Yes.
Who's losing first? Who's going to be the last undefeated team standing?
Well, the Cowboys have the Niners this week, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Right?
I think so.
I do not see Dallas beating the Niners right now. I will have to look at the rest of the schedule. But the way both teams are playing, I would have to say Philly will take a loss before the Niners do. Just because of the way that I'll reverse that. The only reason why I reverse that is McCaffrey is their whole offense. If you figure out a way to neutralize McCaffrey, I don't know if the 49ers have a solution for that.
I'm going to say Philly is at the Rams and Dallas is at the Niners next week. So those are not gimme games on either one of them.
No, we have to see how, Stafford, if he's going to play.
Yeah.
With that.
He got beat up pretty bad in that game against the Colts.
So. Stafford doesn't play, then this is a cakewalk for Philly.
Yeah.
And 49ers have more of their hands full with Dallas, but Dallas is Dallas. I'm not a Dallas fan. I'll be the first to say it, and I will always say it. Nothing makes me more happy than to see the Cowboys lose from time to time, just because I just can't with Dallas. But so it's a toss-up, man. I can't wait to see them two play each other. At some point, It's got to happen. There's going to be clash of the Titans, and that's going to be must-watch TV, no matter what their records are at that time. Absolutely. Those are going to be 2 teams you want to see play each other.
Yeah, just like the NFC Championship game last year. I think that's going to do it for this episode. Going over the Week 4 slate of games. Obviously, we're recording this on Monday, so the Monday night football game was not added to this. But we'll see what happens. I can't wait to watch the game actually tonight. Any final words? Any final thoughts before we end this episode?
Just lots of not as many upsets in my opinion as the week prior. I thought this was a great slate of games this week. A lot of hard-fought games. I want to keep patting myself on the back because I predicted these outcomes for the most part. But no, man, just another exciting week of football, and I look forward to next week and what's that store for the NFL.
Absolutely. This year has been interesting and exciting to say the least so far, from week to week. Until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That was Donald Thomas. This was Believe in Colts, going over the Week 4 slate of games, reviewing those games, and it was brought to you by Bet Online. And as usual, I want you to have a good one.
Peace.
Do you believe?